Hi, everybody. Today we are joined with my good friend Emma. Oh, and Fatty as usual.
Hey.
Emma's a nurse, so happy International Nurses Day, which was yesterday.
Hi, thank you.
Yes, and with my librarian background and my cosmetics
Oh,
current, and my professional cat, I think we made a great team to talk about something that is pretty pervasive in the cosmetics world, and that is ingredients that are not good for you. So Emma saw a documentary. I think we're going to focus on talc today. So let's talk about it.
I love it. Yes, so the documentary I saw was called Toxic Beauty, and it was a part of the Hot Docs festival this past week in Toronto. And it was really good. And yeah, the main focus of it was talc and the kind of history of talc and it being actually really not a safe product.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Like, I know the origins of talc. When you get it in its raw mineral state, it has asbestos in it. Did they go?
Yeah, they did.
Yes.
But the way they described it was that talc is taken from mines where asbestos is also mined. So there is asbestos with the talc, like, together in some way. So when you're using talc, you're also exposing yourself to asbestos.
Right. Asbestos.
That was my understanding of it.
For the rest of us.
Yeah, for the rest of us. So the whole thing was talking about how women who have, through, like, decades, been using it for, like, genital use, like talc powder, baby powder, and then those women then ended up developing cervical cancer.
Right.
And so some of the women with no other risk factors for cervical cancer were, the only risk they had was using this baby talc genitally, and they took the case up with Johnson & Johnson, and it followed this one woman's name, Deanne Berg, B-E-R-G, and it was her story of how she basically took Johnson & Johnson to court.
Right.
It was one of the first women to do so, and she turned down $1.4 million to settle, and she took them up in court, and she was actually found, like, that Johnson & Johnson was culpable for this, but she was awarded no money.
Wow, she's a brave woman.
Yeah, she is.
Go through that. I've been doing some research, and I've read about that case. It seems like there's a lot of cases brought against Johnson & Johnson. 3 people, this is an article I read that was published actually this year. 3 people brought a lawsuit against Johnson & Johnson. Different states, Oklahoma, New York, California. And they were claiming it had some asbestos in it. So, I'm learning that there are forms of talc that are safe, but the problem is that the way it is processed can be very unethical. I was reading that in Afghanistan, it's not controlled, even though it's supposed to be, and then they'll mix it with safe talc and just ship it off. So sometimes it's hard to know where the quality of what you're getting and how it's been processed.
So, like, your talc is cut.
Your talc is cut.
With something else.
Yes.
Wow.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, another white powder trade. That's,
you need to be careful of all white powders.
White powders are
talc included.
Always. Some are more dangerous than others.
I love it.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm learning too, there's companies that are putting a ban on it. Like Cover FX was, I think, one of the first ones to come out and say, okay, we're going to go talc free because there are safer alternatives. So I'm reading about that from the cosmetics perspective. But you're as a nurse, your concern would be the healthcare for sure.
Yeah. So what this documentary talked about was the regulation process, because Health Canada is our regulatory body for products in Canada, and it's the FDA in America. And the way the director described it is, you know, there's drugs, pharmaceuticals, there's medical devices, and those are the highly, highly regulated products. And then not even in the back seat of the van, but not even in the van at all, is cosmetics. They really don't regulate. And it's considered a post-market regulation, meaning if something bad happens to you, the consumer who's using the product, it's up to you to raise the concern with the company and follow through with all the court filings and hearings to get that looked into.
Right.
So it's not protective of consumers at all, which is scary because of how many products we all use every day.
Yeah, absolutely. So talc, I should backtrack a bit. Talc can be found in eyeshadows, foundations. It's something that sort of disperses pigments, gives a soft focus effect. So it's used in so many cosmetics, and then baby powder on top of that. And yeah,
It's in my deodorant. I went home and I found it. My Nivea deodorant.
Okay, yeah, and it's the regulation of cosmetics in general is a huge problem. There's so much information out there. I've literally heard opposite opinions about denatured alcohol, for example. I've actually had professionals in the cosmetics industry tell me that that's okay. I've had professionals in the health or the cosmetics industry tell me that denatured alcohol is not safe. So it's very difficult, I find, to actually get to the truth of this. So my conclusion reading all this was just go for safer alternatives.
Yeah.
And they're easy to get. I'll put the companies down there that I found, but basically like Nude by Nature, talc-free, good ones. Nude by Nature, Smashbox, IT Cosmetics, Honest Beauty, Bare Minerals. I have a whole list. I'll link that with the article that I read. And Emma, you found some good stuff.
Yeah, I found some interesting stuff. So in the documentary, they feature this organization called silentspring.org. And it's named after a book written by one of the first female scientists who started looking into cosmetics safety.
Right.
And so anyway, so there's silentspring.org, and there's also bantalc.com. That's a petition run by the director of Toxic Beauty.
Right.
And then in case you're interested in looking up your own ingredients, the California Department of Public Health has a list of the harmful ingredients in cosmetic products. California is leading the charge on this stuff, as we can expect.
California.
Go California.
Yeah, I know.
So it's safecosmetics.cdph.ca.gov, and Liz can put that
Fantastic.
in the list.
Absolutely.
So I haven't had a chance to go through it yet, but I'm kind of scared to be honest, because I don't use a lot of products, but of what I do, I usually go for the cheapest one at the drugstore.
Yeah.
And so I'm pretty sure that I'm going to have a lot of problems. And with the talc and with other things too, a lot of the chemicals they talk about it being hormone disruptors,
right,
and having effects on fertility and having effects on breast cancer, cervical cancer, all these kinds of things that are kind of more latent. And without the regulation, it's up to like me to do my own regulation. It's a lot of work, and I'm busy, you know.
You are busy.
So
very busy.
The stress.
I know it's a lot to wade through. Well, I know doctors, because talc would be on their surgical gloves, and they would wash their hands to prevent any, because talc does inflame. Like at the very least, if you might not get cervical cancer, but inflammation happens if you're inhaling it. And thinking of the miners who are mining these minerals, they're inhaling it. And we have a real trend these days of like, it has, I in my industry, I have so many people coming in saying they want something natural. I'm like, natural doesn't necessarily mean it's good. So do your research. Like back in Victorian times, they used to put arsenic in skincare. So getting cosmetics regulated has been a battle for over 100 years. So that website, fantastic. That's really helpful. There's the Think Dirty app, which you can put on your phone, which will allow you to browse different cosmetics and products and see if they're safe or not. And there's the EWG Skin Database. So yeah, it's an overwhelming industry. There's so many things to choose from, and sometimes you do go for what's cheapest. I know that my skin is worlds difference since I stopped using detergents and soap and sodium lauryl sulfate. It's just absolutely completely changed my life. So even a little bit of research is gonna at least point you in the right direction.
It's true. There's another app on Silent Spring that gives you very reasonable solutions around the house to minimize your exposure.
Right.
So I started doing a few of them, but I haven't tackled, like I said, my actual cosmetics yet, because it's just, I'm kind of scared.
Yeah.
But this is another step in talking about it that makes me think,
there
okay,
you go.
I really have to do that.
feel the fear.
Feel the fear,
and
but
do
also
it anyways.
I feel like we should do a little bit of advocacy too, that our Health Canada organizations, and these are publicly funded for the public interest organizations, should be doing more to regulate those products on behalf of women. And
Absolutely.
the documentary also talked about skin whiteners and hair straighteners targeting racialized women, actually having more of an effect. So we have to think about the reason why these aren't regulated, because women use cosmetics, and we live in a patriarchal society, and they don't care. It's even the science on working as cosmetics is kind of seen as frivolous.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I have seen a lot of women come in and they want skin that's lighter, which makes me really sad, because my cosmetics are fun and they serve a purpose, and for me it's to play with my alter ego. There's different reasons that I think are healthy, but at the root of it, I want women to love themselves just as they are. I can't say that message enough. I think that's something that everybody should strive for, and it's sad when that's in there, but your voice as a consumer is important, because I do see consumers driving the market. So the less people are choosing these things, the more safe alternatives are going to come out. So your voice is very, very important. I've seen the cosmetics industry. I've been in it for 4.5 years. I've seen it change for the better from then. Like, I'm seeing more campaigns against animal testing, more companies getting on board. So there's definitely hope. I wanted to lead off with a positive message.
Good to know.
I love myself just the way I am.
Yes, the beauty myth is real.
It is real.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now we've covered it all.
I think so. Anything else?
Just see Toxic Beauty if you can. It just debuted. If you're interested, check it out. Check out the resources.
Awesome.
And
Yay. Thank you so much. And have a great day, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.